You are exactly who you think that you are. Like, do not let anybody, if you have a dream and you know that it can work, do not let anybody deter you from that dream. If you need to sit on your lips and not tell anybody about it, do that. If you believe in yourself, all you need is yourself. Find people that have true vision and see how you can build your own kitchen.
I'm so excited for this conversation.
How's everybody feeling today?
I believe there's time for and there are going to be seasons in your life where
I know that I can do a damn good job.
I can be who I am. And as a leader,
so do not be afraid of collaboration.
As we're learning things, we're gonna make lots of mistakes.
It's for you to then continue to move around this space, to move around the world and navigate it.
You are right where you're meant to be. I'm going to introduce Azekah. So I mentioned to you guys before that Azekah is, in my mind, she's my hairstylist. That's why my locks look so good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I ain't seen her in a million years, but you know, you see the health, you see the growth. Yes. But Azekah has been very much a guiding light and a guiding compass for me in these last 6 to 8 months. Like I mentioned at the top of the stream, Azekah was there when I was in a very chaotic space in my life. Chaotic at home, chaotic at work, chaotic in all of the things, like really internally struggling with some things to find myself. And she gave me that push. Okay. We joked last week where it was like, oh, you know, I owe 40% of it to you, girl. I'll take 60, you take 40. Right. But she has truly created a healing space for me in my entrepreneurial journey. And she hopes to do that for other young women too. So in our conversation today, we're not only going to just talk about the chaotic driver, but we want to talk about women entrepreneurs who are actually wanting to leave their jobs, right? And who are actually wanting to leave their jobs and want to get into their own businesses, and doing that in not only just a hustle culture way, not in a hustle culture way, but in a sustainable way, understanding that you have to unlearn specific habits in order to actually grow your business, and know that it's going to be hard for a while. And it's okay for it to be hard, and it's okay for you to experience wholeness and be in the liminal space, because that's what has happened for me. And Azekah was there to hold me. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Azekah. Let me put her on. Hi, lady in green. Look at the pretty lady. Oh, God, I know. I was screaming over here. Hopefully I didn't bust anybody's speaker.
Hello.
How are we feeling today?
How do I even follow up with that beautiful introduction?
You don't even need to follow it, honey. You are here. You are looking beautiful. Look at that.
You, beautiful lady. Beautiful lady.
I mean, look at you in green. I mean, I want this hairstyle, just so you know. You know, I think I might come see you next week. I want this hairstyle. What is all these charms?
So I get these charms from a couple of my clients that go out of the country, and I get them a lot in Barbados. So you should be able to.
So y'all hear that, right? Y'all, you get customized jewelry at Is it Carib Touch? Carib.
It is.
All right. Right. Yeah. So you get customized jewelry at Carib Touch. You know, my sister be out here doing her big one. Yeah. Okay. She be out here doing her big one. But thank you. So I want to start by saying thank you so much, Azekah, for agreeing to come and have the conversation.
And for inviting me.
I know. I mean, I know you said with no hesitation.
So honored.
You are so cute. But let's kick it out because I know I don't want to take up too much of your time because you're a busy lady. But I want you to tell the people a little bit about yourself and like what made you choose the topic of the chaos driver.
Okay, so hello everybody. My name is Azekah. I am the owner of Carib Touch. I specialize in locks and all things lock care. So if you are in the Massachusetts area and you need your hair done, please come and see me. But aside from that, I am a 27-year-old entrepreneur. I started off in electrical. I went straight out of high school right into a male dominated industry. So that was an eye opener for me at 18, 19, being surrounded with, nothing but men. That is where the chaos drive, I got introduced to my first chaos driver. So um, dealing with, the male dominated industry and everything that they have going on, whether it's, their wife getting down on them about something at home or them just feeling inadequate because there's a woman on the job site. There's so many things that, like you said earlier, it's never about you. It's always about what the other person has going on. So I did my time dealing with them. I did about 8 years of electrical. I am a licensed electrician in the state of Massachusetts. Um, and then after just dealing with all of that and being marginalized in an area where I know that I can do a damn good job, usually better than a lot of the males. So I decided I no longer wanted to be marginalized and I decided to make my own table, make my own community. So I decided to go and start a career in hair because it was a passion of mine. I had a friend that told me how great it would be to get into the industry, and here I am. So I worked in a few salons before I started on my own, and I, had unfortunately a few chaos drivers and those in my environment as well. Now we're dealing with an all female dominated industry, and here I am dealing with the same thing. So I don't think you ever really escape it. You just have to figure out what works for you and how you can detach from that and other people's projections. So I did my time in the salons, figured out it wasn't for me, and I decided to create my own community, my own place, my own table. So here I am.
Yeah, I love what you said, right? Like creating your own table. I specifically really love that you said, it doesn't matter the gender, right? Like these patterns affect everybody, whether it's racial, whether it's gendered. It is something that happens to all of us because we're all deeply impacted by what's happening in society, right? And we're all trying to get to the bag, right? And we're all dealing with, family dynamics, right? So we're all out here trying to, we're all out here running around in some sort of way unhealed. But the difference is there are some of us who acknowledge this hurt, right? Because, like you just said, right? Like I did my time. Yeah, I did my time. I acknowledged the fact that I was marginalized. I acknowledged the fact that all of these things were happening to me, and I decided to eject from the system. And that is beautiful. I love that you acknowledge that, and that you are creating your own space. Um, did you ever yourself, like when you decided to create your own table, did you ever yourself like saw you actually exhibiting some of those traits of those chaos drivers, right? Like sometimes, even though you've now exited the system and you've created your own table and you've done all of this acknowledgement, you don't even realize how impacted that you have been. And I would really like to know about your experience, at least, if that has happened to you.
So, I definitely agree that you do take on some of those attributes. Sometimes you don't even know it, or you won't even realize that you're taking on those attributes. But I have. I had a couple employees in the past, and I think I held on to them a lot longer than I should have, because I'm learning a lot about myself these days at 27. I'm learning that I have an avoidant attachment style. And honestly, if I was honest with myself and if I was honest with those people, they probably wouldn't have lasted as long as they did. Or I would have had a conversation to maybe change some things, or, just dealt with the situation head on. But now I'm learning that confrontation isn't necessarily always the bad thing. And I'm learning to just say what needs to be said.
I mean, I know you see my face just light up. One, I just want to say thank you so much for the vulnerability. Like, you are exhibiting so much in this call that a lot of leaders, like, you're modeling so much for a lot of women out here and a lot of women leaders. Because it's difficult to come on a space like this and be vulnerable, but then also to understand, like, I definitely swallowed that water myself, right? And like, to go find out what type of attachment style that you have, right? Because, like, legitimately, I know for me, finding out my attachment style is like, oh, you know, is something wrong with me? Like, when my therapist said go do it, I was like, is something wrong with me? And like, she was like, this is stuff that happens in childhood that makes you
Right.
really avoidant, that that you bring with you into these spaces, right? And like, being avoidant doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you avoidant. And now that you have the language to do the right thing, I'm going to let you go a lot sooner, to your point. Let your employees go a lot sooner, so that we don't have to keep re-traumatizing and triggering each other. I love what you said. Oh my goodness. And so, since you found out that you were avoidant, like, how has that knowing and that knowledge impacted how you operate as an entrepreneur?
Well, first and foremost, let me say you make it very easy to be vulnerable. And I just want to thank you so much for also giving me a
Oh,
safe space to exude that vulnerability. So thank you so much for that.
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
um, so so a little bit in the entrepreneurial sense, I just think I do a lot of self-reflecting now. After each day, I try to sit and say to myself, okay, well, what could I have done better? Or, is there anything that I did today that fits in how I'm usually doing things? Like, did I progress in any way of trying to avoid any situation? Um, Also, I think even in my personal life, it's helped a lot with just addressing things a lot sooner instead of just letting it go. And it's building resentment, even in myself, that I didn't even really realize that I was dealing with. Now, instead of just blowing up and saying one thing, you know, I just say things as they happen, as I'm feeling them.
I mean, can we talk about the glow up and skills? Like, I mean, can we talk about the glow up? Like, I mean, let's name it out loud, friend. Like, let's name it out loud. Like, the glow up. You've now modeled for women entrepreneurs, right? Hopefully people see this and they're clapping in the comment section, because I can't see the comment section. But the glow up is like, you've now modeled for women that legitimately it's okay to reflect out loud. And reflection is a very powerful tool of like, now that I have this knowledge about me being avoidant, right? Because I know that for me, that's also my attachment style, conflict avoidant. I am now able to address conflict head on and have difficult conversations. And I don't care what nobody say. Having difficult conversations is a skill. Like that's
It
a
is.
skill.
It is.
Okay, especially for people who are conflict avoidant, like you feel it all up in your back. You feel it all up in your you feel it all up in your shoulders. You don't want to have the
Honestly.
conversation. You're like, oh my God, why do I need to do this? It should be obvious.
Yep.
Like, why do
Yep.
I need to tell you this? Like, why aren't you as attuned and astute as me?
Exactly.
And then you have to realize, well, oh, in my reflection, right? Because I'm conflict
It
avoidant,
is.
I'm also very
It is.
observant, right? And like not everybody is not the same way. And like I said, just big glow up on the like when I say I don't want to say proud because like I didn't teach you these things, but I'm just like I am I am just so proud of the fact that you
Exactly.
can model this level of not vulnerability, but like the reflecting out loud. That is huge, especially because I come from the corporate side where it's difficult for people to, especially women leadership, to reflect and be vulnerable out loud because it's seen as weak. Right. And like you are clearly exuding so much strength right now because you are now utilizing that not only as an
But
entrepreneur,
you played a
but
big
in your
part though.
relationship to grow and heal. And that's such a wonderful modeling. I don't even need to, because I'm looking at my next question. I'm like, my next question is, what does it look like to lead yourself when no one is around you modeling wholeness? I'm like, this is what it look like, y'all. Like, this is what it looks like. Um, but
Absolutely.
I'm so happy that you're having a wonderful experience. And I'm just wondering, Azekah, you know, in those quiet moments of like, because sometimes you have that mind chatter, like having an avoidant personality, it comes with the mind chatter, right? And like, what are some you see, look at her face. She's like, what are the tools that you use to actually cope with the mind chatter?
I'm heavy sighing because I'm still trying to find tools to help with the mind chatter. I think that, as an entrepreneur, your mind never really shuts
Yeah,
off. But I'm really trying to work on
right.
unplugging. Um, as a stylist, I hear a lot of stories. I go through a lot of things with people, ups,
All the chaos,
downs,
all the
death,
chaos. Yeah,
life, all the things. So now in the beginning, it really affected me deeply, the different stories that I heard day
yeah,
to day. But now I'm really just trying to work on not taking on other people's problems, just leaving the day at the door. When I'm done with the day, that's where it stays. I don't want to bring it into my home. I don't want to bring it in
yeah,
anywhere because that is their life and I have mine at the end of the day when my day is
yeah,
done. So I don't want to project onto anybody else in my life. So I really just try to put down the phone. I have, a work phone and a personal phone. That really, really helps. So just leaving work at work, and I've been trying to meditate a lot more now, exercise. Um, so these are just some of the things that I'm really trying to do. I'm working on getting my assistant. So I think that will, okay, yeah. Sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can have help. And that's what I'm learning now. And it's hard. It's so hard, especially as a Black woman, to say, I need help. So that's another thing that I'm really working on, and letting my community just be there for me, that I don't feel like I have to carry such a heavy load by myself. So just, relying on others, unplugging when the day is done, and finding some personal time for myself and keeping myself to that personal time.
I just want to, I want to, because I'm going to put a slide in the middle here because I made some slides. And earlier on in the conversation, I had mentioned that these chaotic symptoms come from somewhere. It comes from urgency addiction, which is it dysregulates your nervous system. It comes from fear of being found out and unprocessed trauma around control. The reason why I put this slide up after Azekah said what she said is because Azekah's ability to unplug, right, daily, leave the information at the shop, leave it at work. That's active work, right? That's active work to support your nervous system, right? That's dysregulated because she just said, like, legitimately, she's dealing with all of these chaotic stories daily. I mean, I've sat in her chair, y'all, and I done told her some things. Okay, here's what I'm gonna say. Please, Lord, please, Lord, please, Lord, let her leave it at the shop. Okay, please, Lord, let her leave it at the shop, right? And really and truly, Azekah's ability to legitimately unplug and regulate herself. And she mentioned a big piece of regulation: meditation, exercising. That really calms down your urgency to actually want to do more. Because now you done exercise, you done meditated, you're like, damn, I'm tired. I want to go to bed. I want to go to bed. Right? So it calms down the urgency. And this is where these chaotic drivers are coming from. That's why I said these folks are not evil, because some of us, we're also chaotic too. Right? And this is another way that we can actually regulate ourselves. This fear of being found out. She just said, I struggled with being a strong Black woman and asking for help. The fear of being found out doesn't necessarily has to do with competence, right? Like, oh, I'm incompetent, but it also has to do with fear of, like, I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want people to find out that I'm vulnerable. I don't want people to find out that I need support and they might perceive me as weak. So now you're functioning in a survival pattern, right? And now you're functioning in this chaos and you're like, I don't know why. That's because that's a symptom that you collected from Brenda.
Okay.
Okay?
Also, I mean, I don't know about you, Norlander, but I have a strong immigrant mother, okay? And a lot of the a lot of the reasons that I go so hard is because I've seen another woman go so hard, and that is my role model. And I feel like if I don't, that I'm disappointing her in a way. So, that kind of adds on to, this fear blanket that you have put on yourself, and it cripples you.
That's the paralysis. That's the trauma paralysis. I know a lot of people throw out these big words, right? And I'm throwing out one, but that is the trauma paralysis. Azekah summed it up really well. It is legitimately, I put it right here on the slide, unprocessed trauma around control or chaos in childhood. And like, our parents ain't, you know what I mean? Like, let me come back here. Our parents didn't do this on purpose. Right? They do it on purpose. They do what they learned. They did what they learned. Yep. These patterns were given to them. It's like an invisible backpack, right? And I know for me, it's the same thing. Like, I've seen my mother work so hard. Okay? Rest is the enemy. Okay? It's the enemy. My mother came to visit me. I had to be like, sit down.
Okay, because she wants to clean everything. She wants to make sure you have everything. Like,
I'm like, sit down. There's a dishwasher. Put it in the dishwasher. Oh no, I'm the dish. Why do you have the dishwasher? They made a whole machine. They connected water. They did all the things for us. Oh. And you decided that you want to wash the dishes. Mia, sit down. Okay, but in all honesty, I really appreciate you naming that it comes from childhood, and that we are all as adults. I often had a mentor that said this: we are all adults, are children grown up. right? Like honestly, they are, right? And like children never forget, and that trauma never leaves you unless you start having the conversations and naming it, right? And understanding that it's a part of you and utilizing it as fuel to push you forward. Because I'm sure, Azekah, you use what like these things that your mama gave you, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna just name it out loud. I do this like my mom. I do this like my mom. I just need to unlearn that. That wasn't right. Like that, I love my mama, but that wasn't the right thing to do.
Yep.
And I appreciate you naming that. Let me, because I have to check time because the conversation is so good. Okay, we got 10 more minutes of Azekah's
Let's
time.
talk about
We
it.
have 10 more minutes of Azekah's time, but I know a big part of this conversation, Azekah, is you truly wanted to talk about how to bring wholeness centered entrepreneurship to the space that you're in, right? Which is here and supporting other up and coming hairstylists to not only, like, let's say they're leaving their jobs and trying to do their own thing and starting their own practice. I'm calling it practices, but I mean shops. And what are some things you would say to them about not just about the compliance piece about starting their journey, but the mind piece? Like, what are some tools or takeaways that you would give to these women about shifting their mindset before they go and they do the compliance piece?
Wow, I feel like this is a very loaded question, but it's a really good one. It's a really good one.
Just need
Okay,
to get a
so
piece,
I'll try to.
a little piece.
Okay, a piece. Honestly, my biggest advice is you. Okay, two things. One, you are exactly who you think that you are. Like, do not let anybody, if you have a dream and you know that it can work, do not let anybody deter you from that dream. If you need to sit on your lips and not tell anybody about it, do that. If you believe in yourself, all you need is yourself. And two, if you are in a space or an environment and it is starting to look like a very weird power dynamic, if the energy feels weird, anything, go with that feeling. Go with that feeling because usually you're never wrong. Every time I've had that feeling about any environment that I was in, whether it's construction, whether it's someone else's hair salon, anything, just get up and go. That's pretty much all that I have to say. Believe in yourself and go when you are no longer welcomed. Go build your own table.
I love that. I mean, you said, that's all I have to offer. That was a lot. I mean, that was a lot because you literally just said to women, trust yourself. Trust is a major
Absolutely.
thing. Like, I know I struggle with trust, right?
Especially when you have imposter syndrome. I have just, oh my gosh. I feel like shedded my imposter syndrome skin. Like, imposter syndrome is something that it is a mental thing. It is something that you 100% put on yourself. So the minute that you start to trust yourself and just you go with that feeling, you'll be all right.
Yeah, I love that you brought up imposter syndrome because, like, who are you in competition with? You're in competition with yourself. Like,
And if not you,
if
then
not you,
who?
then
Who's
who?
better for it?
Exactly. I often hear, like, my coach, she tells me all the time, build it and they will come. Do it and they will come. You owe it to yourself to try, right? And you owe it to yourself to trust yourself, right? And it's easier said than done to be like, oh my God, I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to do these things. And the imposter syndrome monkey, for me, I know for me, it always creeps up. Like just yesterday, literally, I was in this house having a complete meltdown. Okay. The universe corrected itself, obviously, because we're sitting here today.
Were you nervous about
No, I
today?
wasn't nervous about today. So like that I am building this whole ecosystem. Like, this podcast is just a piece of what
Yep.
um
Yep.
Bekomeye is of what I want it to be. Right?
Absolutely.
And what I'm gonna say is that I had to manage my own expectations, because what people don't talk about, at least in this first round of entrepreneurship, is that you are waiting for people to react to you. And it feels like you're screaming into a void and like nothing is working. Right? And you're like, oh my God, like, is this for me? Should I be doing this? But then you have to remind yourself, like,
You are
you
exactly
need
who you are.
exactly. You have to remind yourself, you are exactly who you are. You are right where you're meant to be. And it was that for me yesterday. It wasn't about being nervous, because I did one last week, right? I'm just like, okay, it's Azekah. I'm comfortable talking to her. But it's like, oh my God, like, is this thing gonna work? And you have to believe in yourself. And nobody talks about what happens in that transition in entrepreneurship of like, okay, now that I believe in myself, now what? Which is why I'm so happy that we're having this conversation about imposter syndrome and that monkey, creeping up on your back. For me, it never really goes away. It comes back. It just lessens, right? Like the higher you climb and the better you do, it lessens. So I would say just go for it. It doesn't matter. It's just always going to be there. Let me just double check timing, because I'm like, I could talk to Azekah forever.
I can talk to you all
We have 3 more minutes. Is there
Yes.
anything you want to leave the folks with, right? We touched on truth telling. We touched on trusting yourself. We touched on holding your boundaries, at least within yourself, within your family dynamics. We touched on a plethora of topics around the chaos driver and like, why it's their fault, why it's coming into our patterns. Is there anything you want to leave the folks with today?
Yes. So you actually touched in one of your videos about maybe a Brenda or someone else telling you that there can't be 2 cooks in a kitchen, right? And I just want to tell everybody out there, especially if you are a minority, if you have a dream, find 10 cooks and go build your own kitchen. Okay? Yeah! Because there absolutely should be. Everyone should have an idea. Not everybody is going to be good at the same thing. Not everybody is going to bring the same thing or the same flavor to the recipe. So everybody has a platform. Everybody has something to contribute to whatever your dream is. So do not be afraid of collaboration. Do not, have that crab in a barrel, like, oh, everything is just for me mentality. Find people that have true vision and see how you can build your own kitchen. And that's, that is all
Whew!
I have.
I mean, that's a high note. I don't need to follow up with anything. Y'all heard Azekah. She said, if there can't be 2 cooks in the kitchen and somebody tried it on you, go find 10 cooks and build your own kitchen. That's right. I couldn't put it in any other way. Again, I appreciate you for visiting the space. And I'm just, if you could hold for a second, because I want to make sure I talk to you before we end the stream. But thank you so
Absolutely.
much, everybody, for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for joining the stream. I know I couldn't, like, I feel like I'm just talking to Azekah because I couldn't see if people were chatting us. I hope that they were. But again, thank you. I appreciate you guys who did show up today and who, came to hear Azekah talk about her transition. Again, you guys saw it. Powerful person, powerful speaker, wonderful healer. I really, really appreciated her in the space today. And again, thank you guys. And we'll see you guys next week with Marie. All right?
Thank you.
Bye.